time, saved on our page and like on our Facebook page and on Instagram, and plus our YouTube, of course. So people who are late, they still can witness our historic first live stream for Tokyo State of Mind with you guys. So hi everyone. If you're here, raise your hands. Yeah, I feel like a high school teacher, but anyways, welcome to the first Tokyo State of Mind streaming session. We are a podcast to make you feel good about you and your life in Japan through bringing amazing guests and sharing their invaluable stories and experiences with you. Upon the request of many of you guys, we decided to launch online streaming sessions to help you make the most of your life in Japan as MEXT Scholars. This episode is dedicated to selected MEXT candidates who passed the selection and are going to come to Japan in 2021, which I hope is going to happen. So, today we will discuss first what you should be aware of when coming to Japan. For that, we have our guest, Victor, whom I will introduce a little bit later. So, second, what you should bring, like clothes, money, like and other stuff, like documents. And the third, but which is going to be the longest part of our podcast for around 30 minutes, is a Q&A session with Witter and us, where he's going to ask us questions as someone who just arrived about all the perspectives, like all the fresh impressions and all this, everything that he's interested right now. So today on board we have Austin Zeng, MEXT Scholarship Association president, our amazing friend whose hobby is tasting sake without killing his liver. Hi, Austin.
Hi, good
Uh,
evening to everyone.
and as I mentioned, before, welcome our new homie Vithor, a freshly selected MEXT Scholar from Brazil who just
Yeah,
arrived to Japan and can't wait to share his fresh experiences and ask us questions. Congratulations
yeah.
on getting MEXT, by the way, Vithor.
Thank
Omedetou.
you.
Baki.
Yes. And of course, your all-time hosts who are by some accident MEXT Scholars too, which is me, Kamida, and Katya. So say hi, Katya. Say hi
Hello,
to Katya.
everyone. Yeah, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Yay. So, this session is brought with love, support, and structure, and we're happy that you joined us. At the end of the session, as I told you, we'll have a Q&A session by selecting the questions that you're going to leave in the comments. So please feel free to write the questions, and we'll select some of them to answer right now and maybe leave some of them for the next session. This session is going to be till 12 p.m., so an hour session. And before we start this episode, we strongly encourage you guys to follow Tokyo State of Mind on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook to get the weekly updates every Saturday on our episodes that will be extremely informative as we talk a lot about incredible opportunities in Japan. Like seriously, a lot. And we have new episodes every Saturday and max streaming sessions once in a month. So follow us to be updated about the latest episodes and other available information. And on this minute, I am gonna uh, stop talking and give you the chance for our uh, amazing guest Vitor to talk about his fresh experience of coming to Japan. So, hi
Mm,
Vitor, tell what's
um,
going on. What have you experienced with coming to Japan in 2020?
mhm. So I just passed in the Max for research, and then there was this problem because of the pandemic situation that we couldn't come in April this year. Then we had to wait and wait and wait until like the end of November to come here. No, not the end of November, sorry. The end of October to come. So it was like kind of tough time because we had to attend classes online, but we didn't receive the scholarship. We didn't have any other support except the classes online. And also waiting and waiting and waiting. Then me and other Brazilians and also some other people around the world, they could come just now, like in the end of October until now they're coming already. And that's like the situation that happened to me, like especially because of COVID-19. And also something that I would like to share is that because of also this pandemic situation, the process, the selection for MEXT 2021 was also changed in all of the aspects in Brazil, especially. Like we didn't have the tests before, and then to select the people about, for example, the English and Japanese level, they just paid attention on the documents that people were submitting and also in the research plan. So just based on that, they could check if the person was good enough or not in Japanese or English, then selecting them for the interview. So basically, the pandemic situation changed everything for the next selections this year.
I see. And you, yeah, Katya, please.
So I was curious about the interview. Was it online or you had to go to the embassy?
Okay, so even though the tests weren't made at all, the interviews they were all in person. Like they did in all in different days and different times, so that people couldn't be like together and not
So they limited
crowded.
the amount of people.
Exactly, yes, yes, but it was in person.
Hmm.
Mhm. So
So, yeah.
I think that is what I have to share about all the situation, right? About what the process that I passed from
Mhm.
the last year until now, and
Mhm.
also the process of this that happened this year. That I've been talking with people that participated, and they told me this kind of experience.
Mm.
So Victor, like, since you got here, like, what do you think were the most like challenging things that you experienced at first? Like, so can you share just your fresh, because I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people really underestimate like how challenging it can be at the beginning and what kind of struggles you have as a freshly arrived MEXT scholars. Can you elaborate on that?
Of course. So, because also of this pandemic situation, the arrival here in Japan was like a lot different than it could be because we had to arrive. I arrived in Narita, and then we did the COVID test already in the airport. We had
Mhm.
to wait some time to get the results and also know if we were able to just get out of the airport. After that, we had to took a shuttle bus because we couldn't use the public transportation for 14 days. So after that, we took the shuttle bus to the hotel and we had to wait there like for 14 days. And then after that, just after that, we could go to another places in Japan. Because of that, my first impression was like it was kind of comfortable to stay there in the hotel, especially because Max was paying for us to stay there. We didn't have to pay, or some people had to pay beforehand, but they would give back the money. And also, but the real problem wasn't that actually. Was that inside the hotels we had only a convenience to buy things, and it was not that easy to only eat convenience stuff for 14 days. Like the food isn't that healthy at all, so it wasn't so good.
Mm.
Mm. And talking about how Japanese would receive us, like I felt that it was just okay because in the hotel there are a lot of people that speak English, so it wasn't trouble at all.
Mhm.
And yes, but right now that I arrived in Tsukuba University and I'm in the dorm, I can see that now the reality is really coming out. Like I have really to talk with people in Japanese a lot, and just knowing English, I feel like is not enough at all. Like for example, in the dorm that I am in, I live with three more Japanese people,
Mhm.
and then I have just to talk with them in Japanese. And for me, it feels like it's it's difficult. even though I know some Japanese, sometimes they speak fast and I have to try to process those stuff, and it makes the conversation a little bit strange
Mhm,
sometimes.
mhm, mhm,
And yeah, that's my impression until now.
I see.
mm.
S-
Victor, you're just to give us a bit of background. You're a research student, right? But you're which subject will you be studying? And actually, roughly, how much Japanese do you speak right now?
I would say I'm getting into the intermediary of
Intermediate.
Japanese.
Okay, intermediate.
Intermediate, yes.
Hmm. And
Mhm.
you are studying which field? Like your subject.
So here in Tsukuba, there is this special field about design which is called emotional design.
Mm-hmm.
In Japanese, it would be said kansei design.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the field that I'm starting to study here. And basically, it studies like how to create and develop products in a way that you can understand how people need to feel or want to feel about that product.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. I see. I see. Um, and I guess like it's a good time for me since we're talking at the beginning and stuff. I'd like to ask you the most asked question for all gaijin in Japan. Why did you
Mm.
choose to come to Japan?
Oh,
Mm.
nice. So since I was a kid, I really loved the culture of
Mm.
Japan. I started like in Japan, of course, because of anime, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like the main part of that really motivated me to come here. It
Mm-hmm.
was that I enjoyed a lot the songs, the language, the culture, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to learn that like inside the country.
I see.
So I really did that before actually. Like in 2014, I came here to study in Tohoku University, and I did an interchange program on aerospace engineering, and then I could live this experience of studying Japanese with Japanese people inside Japan and talking with Japanese a lot of times, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really good for me.
I see.
And yeah, and then I came back to Brazil, but I really wanted to come back to Japan again because I think that for academic experience here is a very good place to really try to come and study.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. I see. I see. I see. Well, now you're here. After 14 days
Mm.
of like combini food in a hotel, now you're in your dormitory. Congratulations on surviving quarantine. That's the first thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but so you're living in a. I mean, you're in a Tsukuba dorm right now. Is it like a shared apartment kind of feeling?
Exactly, it's a shared
Oh, okay,
apartment.
okay.
We have like a kitchen, dining room, like bathrooms,
Mm,
two toilets, one bathroom with shower, and five rooms. So I should divide
ah,
the apartment. I should share with five people,
I
four
see. I see.
people at me. And but right now there is only three more Japanese in me, so like four people.
Hmm. You see, right? Like just as a first response, this kind of dormitory is the minority of the dormitories in Japan, where 5 people are living together. But the
Mm.
experiences of the people that I know of are that if you're living with Japanese housemates, right, you really do interact more, and you learn more, and you learn Japanese faster. And
Mm.
if for example, right, uh, let's just give you a few spoilers. A few months down the road, you're going to get some email from, some mail in the mailbox from your municipality about health insurance and stuff like that. And when you don't read Japanese, you'll be like, "What is this?" And if
Um,
you're living with Japanese people, it really does help. The fact that can just show them, what is this? What is this? It looks
uh,
important. I don't know what it is.
I see, see. Yeah, it's a good thing then.
And really, Tsukuba has not all the Tsukuba dorms are like that, from what I know. But the thing is, the fact that Tsukuba has a dorm like that is actually a very good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Uh,
yes.
I'm actually quite surprised that you share with Japanese people because we had in Kashiwa like separately for international
Mm,
students. Yeah, so you have a
Mm-hmm.
chance to interact with the other Japanese people because like besides your lab, for
mm,
example. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool actually. I
mm,
think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth mentioning that one thing that probably most of you guys will not expect is that interaction with a lot of local people here might not be as frequent as you might assume, because of the language barrier, and because of this and the space, like the fact that you're living in the dormitory, like you're
Mm.
usually placed in a foreign dormitory, or you have to like rent like apartment or live in a share house like
Mm,
me,
mm,
and
mm, mm.
you will not really meet a lot of Japanese people. So it is a whole other topic how to make Japanese friends
Yeah.
and like learn the language. And if you watch like some of our Tokyo State of Mind episodes, we are actually talking about a lot about the ways. There actually a whole topic about how to network in Japan, because it's
Mm.
a whole new level of communication here.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, speaking about like the kinds of document that you had to submit for the screening, like what level of JLPT did you submit
Actually,
certificate?
I didn't have to submit JLPT. I just and even TOEFL. I just sent like yes, I just sent my TOEFL because I had, but I didn't have to.
Mm.
Oh, that's kind of interesting because in Russia we
Mhm.
had like yeah, so I think it was kind of obligatory. So to people who
Mm,
are especially applying for the historical major and something like this, like Japanese language, they had to submit like N1 or N2, like Japanese proficiency
mhm,
level. And I actually submitted N4, yeah, when I applied. But
mm,
I was a technical I was
Mm.
applying for the technical major. Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's quite
I see.
interesting that they don't require.
Well,
So,
Yeah,
what?
like in Brazil, usually they don't
Mm.
require that. It's not obligation, not obligated. And then usually they just, if you pass in the whole selection, they just tell you like you should really give some effort studying Japanese, okay? And that's it.
Mm. I think the selection in Singapore is also closer to like what's happening in Brazil. Like I don't recall, at least for mine. I'm a spoiler. I came in 2012, but
Mm.
back then I wasn't required to submit like like a JLPT certificate because after all there was a Japanese exam part as part of the selection
Exactly.
process anyway. So
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
there is
Now
a,
that sense, that's why they don't really require the JLPT and TOEFL.
mm,
It's because they give there are the English and
oh,
Japanese tests.
but that being said, um, like there's how should I put it, right? But if you're a research student, part of your selection process is applying to the university at the same time. You know what I mean? So that they are going to look for your details and pass it to the university to see whether
Mhm.
universities want to accept you. So that's a bit more of like I guess that's why they would prefer you to show your TOEFL and your GLPD score, but I don't recall it being obligatory for me.
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what what did you bring with you? What kind of preparations did you make before coming here, and what kind of things did you bring?
In my situation,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Sure.
for my situation, I just took every cloth I had, like especially the ones that I should use for cold situation, like even snow if it happened, and put it in the luggage.
Not in Tokyo, not in Tokyo, guys. No snow in Tokyo.
Not really, not really. Yeah.
I'm
No.
gonna
So,
disappoint you.
Don't bring clothes. You can buy a lot of cheap clothes here at Uniqlo. Uniqlo is your savior. And by the way, we're not working for them.
by the
I'm not
way,
sure that Uniqlo is quite cheap. I mean, comparing to other countries' price, maybe Japan is not that cheap.
But come on, there are so many sales like Friday and like stuff. They
I
always
have
have
to
sales.
say, I have to say that this does depend on whether you are coming in April or you're coming in September. Because the
Mhm.
thing is, when you're coming in September, you can buy your winter clothes from Uniqlo. But the thing is that we, as a Singaporean, right, Singapore is on the equator. And we were told by a few people to don't bother to buy clothes because you can buy them in Japan. Now, in 2012, when I first came, it was April. It was still very cold. And the thing is that Uniqlo only started selling spring things. So the thing is that many of the scholars, right, were very cold because we couldn't get proper clothes, like warm stuff.
I
So
see.
yeah, if you're coming into the winter, you can buy winter stuff here. If you're moving away from winter, please bring something warm. Yeah.
I think you only
Yeah.
should be bothered that much about clothes if you're tall or you have a big size, because you cannot find, like, I
Ah,
cannot
yes,
find
yes, yes, yes,
jeans
yes.
here that much. I can only find my jeans in Zara because other jeans are really short for me. So
Mm,
y- yeah, if you're tall and you have like the big shoe size, it's gonna be problematic. That's for sure.
I
Yeah.
heard that. Yes.
Yeah. What about like medicine, medical?
That my tutor and also some other people, they recommended me to bring like all the medicine and remedies that I could use in Brazil and bring it with me, because usually in Japan the rules are totally different,
Mm,
and also the strength of the medicine is not so strong. So usually
Yes,
when
it's true.
you feel like a headache or you feel like a fever, if you drink Japanese medicine, it won't work
It's
as
not cold.
mm,
Yeah, it's not
so.
that strong.
mm.
Yeah, so I
So
brought
bring
a
a
lot.
medicine for sure.
Mm.
Actually, I've got a more of a background question. Like, Vito, you came to Japan before, right? So you said that this is your pretty much your second time in Japan, right? For how long did you stay in Japan the first time?
I stayed 1 year in Tohoku University, Sendai.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. You were in Sendai for 1 year, so you pretty much know the feeling already of
Mm.
the weak
Yeah,
medicine and the super like the gaijin questions that you get and
yeah.
okay,
I
okay.
Mm.
try to think about that time back to separate the questions. That's why I was like,
Ah, okay, okay.
what would I think in that time?
True.
What which
Uh,
which which year were you in Tohoku, by the way?
Which one? Sorry,
Which year? Which year?
it's 2014 until 2015.
Oh, we may have friends in common because I do know quite a few people who were in Tohoku at the time. Yeah.
guys, let's not distract from the main topic. We're talking about next.
Yes. Sorry
Okay.
about that. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say a couple of words about medicine. Like here, to call an ambulance is quite expensive, and it doesn't work. I think that the hospitals doesn't work in the weekends. Like if you want to go to the doctor, you should
Mm,
go on weekdays. And for the if you have, for example, uh, throat ache, like running nose and headache, they will give you each pill for the each symptom. Like uh, for example, if in Russia you can use one pill that like kills everything, but here in Japan they like kind of
mm,
crazy about the amount of pills. Yeah, so that I brought with me was the medicine because I know that my immunity system is weak, for example. Yeah, and I should bring something like this. And actually, next, speaking about the money, so I wanted to say a couple words about money. So actually, next warn people that you need for the first month like $2,000, I think, to
Mm.
bring. Yes.
Yeah.
So, as you told us before, Vithor, like about the payment for the dorm, like
Mm.
you didn't expect that they would ask you for the 1 month, like cleaning fee or something like this. Yeah. So, how, like, what was the requirement for your
So
dorm?
actually, I received an email just when I was here in Japan already that I should pay the deposit, the half of the month of November, and already the month of December. And
Mm,
that was like shocking for me because I was waiting just to pay the first month and deposit at maximum.
mm.
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 Yeah. So for me it was for the first month for the like cleaning fee, which is not
Oh,
refundable. Yeah, so guys take a notice of this, how much money, like
Mm,
include this kind of
mm, mm, mm,
expenses
mm,
into
mm,
your
mm, mm.
calculations. Yes. And what about documents? I would
Yeah, I
I
brought.
Yeah, what kind of documents you brought like with you except of passport with visa?
Yeah. So actually, when you participate on the MEXT selection, you have to submit some documents.
Mm,
So after you pass, they also tell you that it's very important for you to bring with you all these documents in the original, because when you apply for master and also doctor, if you want to,
Mm.
probably you need the same documents. So it's like it
Ah,
will kill some time. So I brought this with me, and also in Brazil, I don't know how it's in other countries, but in Brazil, I had to give a permission to another person to solve all the problems in my name, in my behalf. So I had to do that. I had to pass like this responsibility to my mother.
I see. Um, what about like the transcription, English transcription of your diploma, for
Mm.
example, of your undergrad?
So in Brazil, we don't have necessarily the English transcription and also the certificate. Like in my university, you can have it in English as well. So I can have the original translation.
Mm.
But in other cases, like in
mm,
the like some time ago when I tried also to participate in MEXT selection and I couldn't pass, the embassy just tell us that you can translate by yourself, and they will just check if it's totally correct, and then they make a stamp of the embassy. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to bring that with me as well.
Also, guys, I have
And
to mention that for the tests, sorry, just like one remark for the tests like GLPT and TOEFL and GRE. I don't know how relevant it is right now, but I think it feels like in Tokyo it's much more expensive to do it. So, for your interest, I think it's gonna be better if you take all this tests back home. It's gonna be cheaper, and you're gonna be less stressed because it's your country and it's your environment, and you probably will get even better scores. So take note of that too.
speaking about TOEFL, you cannot take it in Japan, as far as I know, because many people, or in Tokyo. So I heard that many people go to Seoul to take the test in TOEFL there,
And
actually.
some people even have to go to Okinawa for if
Or
biology majors had to go to Okinawa.
oh yeah, yeah. So it's far away. You cannot take TOEFL in Tokyo. That's why I took it in Moscow and I brought the results
okay.
with me. Yeah. And speaking about like coronavirus test,
Mhm.
did you have to bring some results, or you said that you took the test in the airport, right?
Yeah, so but just to get out of your country and come to Japan, you have to have a test about like at maximum 3 days before the departure.
Yeah.
So I had to have it like in my hands all the time. When I stopped in Amsterdam, I also had to show that. And when I arrived in Japan, I also had to show that. Like they needed to check that I really was negative.
Mm,
And then
Yeah.
when I arrived here in Japan, they also did a fast test. Like I had to spit on a
mm,
small thing, and they just did the test like in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I see. What else can be relevant for this kind of documents? I don't know. I had many questions about like university related stuff, because my because Todai asked for the transcription from my university, which like kind of system. So I we have five score systems in Russia. So like what kind of how to say that? So how can Japanese university determine which score is which in
ah,
Russian? Yeah.
Mm,
So I didn't know that this letter would be necessary, and I had to ask my university remotely
Mm.
to send it. Yeah, but I think it's not everywhere, probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we have 30 more minutes left. So can we start the Q&A session from Vithor?
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I guess like just to preface the whole a few things about this, it's more of along the lines of like Victor. Well, I know that you've been here for like 1 year before. Like there's many things that when you first come to Japan, there's lots of things that you don't really know about, and you really will want to ask and stuff like that. So this is kind of like that kind of senpai to kohai kind of conversation that we want to like give through this opportunity. So yeah, questions, Victor, your questions.
Yes, any questions?
Okay.
Where's here the bunch of your senpais ready
Yeah.
for everything?
So, just before starting the questions, I would like to say that when I first arrived here, like back in 2014, it was really shocking for me when I saw everything in Japanese with kanji and almost no hiragana. And I was like, Jesus, I only know hiragana. It's so tough. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
And like you read signs and everything is in kanji. And yeah, it's really impressive. So I was really shocked in the first time. And also, like, I tried to buy food in the combini, and I was really thinking that I could use my English for something, but I couldn't. And in that first night, I just could buy a Cheetos and a Sprite, and that was my dinner for that day.
Mm.
Uh, I think you should really, like, a suggestion that I have is really try to learn Japanese, at least like basics, and really know how to ask food or know how to ask to make it uh yeah how hot the to
Mm.
heat the bento, for example, and this kind of stuff. I think this is a
Mm.
good suggestion. Okay, but now
Mm.
let's go to the questions. What would
No,
be the most important things that I should brought from my country to Japan?
mm. Okay, I mean, for me, I want to go back to the bit of the language style thing. Like, it really is like, it helps if you even know a few phrases, like in Japan, in Japanese before you come to Japan. Like, even things like like a simple knowing of kudasai, like, actually helps you, like, when it comes to, like, ordering and stuff like that, or like even things like kore nani and stuff like that. It's not proper Japanese, but at least people understand you. Do not overestimate how well Japan speaks English. Do not overestimate how well speaks English. Yeah.
So you
'Cause
cannot gossip behind people's back. They do understand English.
Um,
some
I
people understand you, but the people that you want to understand English often don't understand English. So, like,
yeah.
like,
Or they
for
pretend.
like
Or
the
they
fiance, for
pretend they
example.
don't, right? But
Actually, speaking about Japanese, many foreign people who come here, they just know the word arigato and they say to stuff, and I feel kind of bad because like be more polite means like saying arigato gozaimasu. So I think even adding this small word
Yeah.
would raise your like your level
Mm.
even if you don't know Japanese very well. So yeah, please say arigato gozaimasu. That makes me
Arigato, yeah.
feel good.
Uh, but on the
What
other
to
hand,
bring to Japan?
yeah,
yeah, but what you bring to Japan?
Guys, what to bring to Japan?
integrate. But yeah, precisely what integration, right? There's but even if you don't come to Japan, like, people survive somehow and people learn. So it's really about, like, taking it as something like a challenge, I guess. And I mean, after all, like, once you're 1 year into Japan, 2 years into Japan, you just look back at the kind of embarrassing mistakes that you make, and you just laugh at them anyway. So life goes on, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just it's okay if you're newbie, it's okay. But going to the question of what to bring to Japan, I think
Mm.
it's really important to bring your like besides medicine, money, and yourself. Like you should definitely bring um your um, the souvenirs from your country because there are so
Mm.
many opportunities for you to be a cultural ambassador to earn money on doing that, like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
participating in intercultural programs, and they require you to bring something. So don't bring big stuff. Like nobody asks you to to bring something crazy like ceramics or porcelain. Just bring something small that you can show
Mm,
to other people. That's really important. Yeah.
mm.
What else,
Mm,
guys, would you advise?
I mean, on that note, national costume often helps a lot. So like
Yeah.
a national like a costume and it really helps a lot because sometimes they'll have like a even in Japanese class, for example, they will ask you sometimes to give an introduction about your own country. And then having the costume helps in these kind of cases. And as like Hamida talked about, there are quite a lot of like jobs in Japan where you actually go to schools, for example, and then you talk about your own country. You want to introduce like your own country to the kids and stuff like that. So yeah, having a national costume when you come really helps a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think like when it goes back to the items of personal use, it's really I hear a lot of like complaints about people not liking the toothpaste, not liking the even
mhm,
the stuff like deodorant because all of this doesn't really work here. They're very very like weak. So bring bring the personal care with you, especially like
Mm,
if you have skin problems, like the special you have special needs. I don't think Japan might offer you the really great products for that.
mm,
So,
mm,
especially if you live in Korea, you have a better stuff over there. So,
mm.
yeah, the
Yeah.
best ones. Yeah.
right, yeah, that's really important. Don't bring electronics because you can buy everything here.
Mhm.
So,
Good, good.
what's your next question, Victor?
So, depending on the station, on the season, sorry, what kind of clothes should I have brought?
Depends from which country you're coming.
Mm,
I mean, I'm from Russia, and I used to wearing many clothes during the winter. I used to be prepared for the cold weather, and yeah, so I took a lot of took a lot of warm clothes because I know that I'm afraid of
Mm-hmm.
being cold here, and I was afraid of not having the central heating because I know that
yes. Mhm.
like in Japan it's on the air conditioner, and the electricity fee is very expensive here, and I was like, no, how can
Mm-hmm.
I stay warm? Yeah. um I would say, yeah, if you are coming from um kind of cold countries, yeah, be ready for this stuff.
Mm.
Stay warm, and for south, yeah, from the south, I would say I actually don't know. Austin, do you know?
I
Can
would
you
say, yeah, bring one. I mean, if you're from like tropical country like me, right? Bring one warm thing. Just bring one warm thing because okay. So what happens in like when you're in like the tropical countries is that the winter wear that they usually sell in tropical countries is very ugly.
Hmm.
So just bring that one ugly thing, and then like once you're here, just throw it away and buy something else. Because like it's usually like the stuff that's sold like for winter is really ugly. It's like Ajumma style like winter wear. So,
Kanjiwa style. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's jump into the next question.
Right. What are the initial difficulties to settle in the dorms?
It depends on the dorm because, for example, like Victor, your current situation is that you're living with Japanese people who will help you. Usually they're nice. They're nice, and if you are, however, living in a different kind of dorm, right? Anything can be a difficulty. It can be, for example, maybe like
Mm-hmm.
you walk into the bathroom and the bathroom has lots of buttons and they are all labeled in Japanese. You don't know what button they are. What button is what? You press a button, it starts shooting water at you. You know, these kind of things do happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more along the lines of like whatever difficulty that you have, you just have to be aware that usually dormitories have their own dorm resident advisors or like the helpful senpai or something like that. Get to know them, and if you have anything, talk to them. And usually difficulties they've seen it all, so yeah, as long as you talk to them, they will be able to help you with like resolving whatever you have.
Also, guys, you don't. I My big pro tip for you would be don't come and just hurdle like the shelves of Don Quixote or like Daiso like for your stuff. You can always get stuff from people who are either moving out or
Mm,
Mm.
or giving away stuff on Facebook. There are a lot of groups for that, like Mottainai Japan. Um,
mm,
or Tokyo Sayonara sales, like they're
yeah.
really great for that. Don't spend your money because Tokyo is freaking expensive, and especially when you just come and
Mm,
prices back in your country are very low. So there is a great way for you to save your money by using the stuff from people who are leaving the country because they don't need it anyways. And Japan has this rules that you cannot really um, throw away your stuff, especially if it's big. So it's in their interest to give it to somebody else than throw it away,
Mm.
especially like the yeah the furniture and other stuff. So Victor, you might use that as well for yourself.
Yeah, I was very lucky that there was a lot of Brazilians here in Tsukuba that they were really trying to help me in that way. So today, for example, I just received the heater, ventilator, what else? A rice cooker. Yeah, a lot of stuff. So I didn't need to buy it.
Yeah, yeah, and don't and go definitely like even if you don't have people like that, go for Daiso. Like don't go for the first choice. Like you can save so much money by just like
Mm.
being more smarter and like researching things. Because I feel that a lot of people just come like, hey, like yeah, I kind of expect that Japan is expensive, so I need to spend. No, you don't need to really. Okay,
You
let's
can
go to
save
the next
money,
question. Yes, exactly.
right? When is the best time to start searching for another place other than dorms?
Ah, um, firstly, when you first come into Japan, my first suggestion is really like, be aware of how long you can live in a dorm. Some dorms will tell you to move out within 6 months. Some will be like, in 2 years or
Mm.
something like that. So the thing is that don't wait until the last minute. Really don't wait until last minute. Generally speaking, it is good to have, let's say, 1.5 months to find yourself an apartment in Japan. Or you can look for share houses, for example. So
Mm.
just remember that I do want to say that like the MSA, we do have a collaboration with a real estate agent, and you can get a discount off the collaboration that we have for the real estate agent. So please come look at MSA's official website for more information on that. But yeah, so that's one thing. Yeah, 1.5 months before your dormitory term ends is quite safe, but also avoid hunting for an apartment in February and March. Prices increase.
Mm.
Prices increase because that's the
Um,
high season for like real estate in Japan.
Mm.
that's good to know. I really had no idea about it.
Austin, is it possible to find an apartment, for example, in September, sign a contract, and move in April, for example?
Um, very unlikely.
Mm.
Very unlikely because that means that the real estate agent will have to hold that apartment for you.
Oh,
Uh,
I see.
yeah.
So they cannot sign in advance. If you sign, you have to move right now.
The general idea is that you have like after signing, you have 2 weeks before your rent starts having to be paid. So this is also why 1.5 months may be just about enough for you to have enough time to move out and move in into your new place.
Mm. I see. Okay. Next question.
Okay. Should I buy? I think this question was
You've just
already
answered it,
answered,
yeah.
but okay, it would be like, should I buy stuff just right after arriving, or are there any place that I could find second-handed stuff? So I think you just answered that, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So next one. What are the problems I could have to
Ah,
receive the scholarship, and what should I be paying attention to about the scholarship?
Don't forget to sign every month.
yeah.
You have to sign for the scholarship every month. Don't forget to do it because you
Yes.
can get into trouble.
We often get questions. I often get questions also about, isn't there any exception? For example, if I have a family emergency, like back at home and something like that. The general answer is no. So
Mm-hmm.
just be aware that in order to get the scholarship for that month, you pretty much, under most circumstances, have to sign. Now, because of Corona, things are a bit different this year. But
Yes, they are.
but the thing is that in general, and I expect the rules to go back like whenever this whole thing is done. you really have to be at the office signing.
Mm.
Yeah, and now because of Corona, we are signing online. We are sending like kind of our approval through the email,
Mhm.
but you cannot answer on the email if you are not in Japan. So if you lie, if you sign this
Mhm.
kind of scholarship and you lie that you're currently in Japan, but you're not, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think it's not good to do.
This is the kind of ambiguity that like it's ambiguity that often happens. One other thing that I often get so does it mean that we cannot go on exchange when you're in a MEXT Scholar? Is often another question that we get, and the answer to that is an exchange program depends, but in most cases for exchange programs, if you want to go, you will have to not stop your scholarship, but while you're abroad, you may not be able to receive the scholarship if you're on exchange.
Yeah, because it's only for Japan and
Yeah,
they want their money back.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Not that they want the money back; they don't want their money to be spent overseas.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But
Yeah,
I mean,
Mm.
if you
Makes
spend it in
sense.
Japan, they get it back, right? So,
yeah.
Okay, next one. While MEXT is student, what are the requirements to find out a part-time job?
speaking English, pretty much.
Yeah.
Ah, I mean, okay, let's just put it this way. Just be aware that for everyone, right, that legally speaking, that the student visa does not in itself automatically allow you to do part-time jobs. You need to have a different permit, which allows you to work 28 hours during term time and up to 40 hours during holiday time for a part-time job. Now, then the question is,
Mm.
what kinds of jobs can you do? You can do pretty
Mm.
much any kind of job that does not infringe on basically the vice trade. So things like certain kinds of bars and these kind of things. No, bah, yes, that doesn't work. So but just so these are the legal things now. Especially for research students, when you come, the another issue is, is your professor going to be okay with you like doing a part-time job?
Mhm.
Because I'll be very frank that there are some professors which will want you to be in the lab for a long period of time and not allow you to do a part-time job. Now, this is becomes a very case-by-case issue between the dynamic of you and your professor, and it can only be resolved case by case. So
Yeah.
and many of them will also say that as the MEXT Scholar, you're getting a lot already, so why do you need to do a part-time job? So just be aware, yeah, I mean, that don't come
Mhm.
assuming that you can work a lot if you're especially a research student. Um, but the thing is that in most of the MEXT Scholars that I know of, at least, I'm not sure about Katya and Hamida, but most of the MEXT Scholars that I know have some sort of side income by doing some sort of like a part-time job, like somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also one big tip is that obtain this permission right upon arrival in the
Yeah.
airport, because if you do it right away in the airport, if you don't prepare the form and stuff, like you'll have to go back to Narita and it will take time and money, like, and long
Now,
queue. But
in my case, it was you have to go to immigration center in Shinagawa.
Shinagawa, right?
Yeah, and it
yeah,
takes like at least 2 whole days. One whole
Mm,
day to give an
What?
application and another day to receive your stamp. So there is like a kind of a resident card, and like on the back here you have to like have a stamp which
mm,
allows you to work 28 hours. So, yeah, in my case, they didn't even give a chance, an opportunity to have this stamp into the airport. They said, no, you go to Shinagawa.
yeah.
They said it,
really, I got it
yeah,
at the beginning with no problems.
no. In
Yeah,
my
for me
case,
as well.
no, for me it was like, no, go to Shinagawa.
I,
Maybe because from Russia it was a lot of people coming, I don't know.
I, I,
Mm.
I hear both
Interesting.
stories. Sometimes maybe it's really up to the person that you've that your luck.
Maybe it
Mm.
Yeah,
depends. If you speak good Japanese, just ask for this. Yeah, because it
yeah.
you will save a lot of time
A
because
lot of time.
I spent the 2 whole days to have this one. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, nobody in Tokyo really wants, nobody of like none of the gaijin in Tokyo actually really want to go to Shinagawa anyway.
No,
Yeah,
It's one of the least
true.
like
Okay.
places, so yeah.
So, guys, we have 10 more minutes left, and we promised to have the Q&A session for for the
Mm-hmm.
participants of this live stream. Again, thank you guys so much for participation and for
Mm.
the patience waiting for your answers to be answered. And first question that we have is right here. So Ramshak is asking, Ramshak from Pakistan is asking, how can I get an acceptance letter? I passed the screening from MEXT. Well, depending on what stage, if you pass like the screening for like
Like
all the
second screening,
screenings,
like
yeah,
second
yes,
screening after the interview, then there is a next step to contact your like contact universities to find the appropriate professor, which can be interested in your research topic. And by if so you send this professor a research proposal that you have, and if there is a connection between you and this laboratory that you want to apply, then yeah, I don't remember the actual procedure, but you contact the international relation office, or they contact you, or the like sensei send some letter, so the relation international office contact you. I think in my case was that my professor sent some letter to that office and they contacted me, something like this.
Mm-hmm. I have a tip for her that is like there is this website called Research Map, and there you can find like the name of professors based on what kind of research they do, and also what
Really?
are the universities. Yes, it's really pretty useful for that.
Wow.
and I recommend just like to find a couple of the of professors, like, but what you should be aware that most of the professors probably know each other, but try to contact one by one. So if one says no, it's okay if you follow up. Try to follow up a couple of times, and if they say no or like the topic is not relevant, just find another. Say thank you, be polite, um, and tell like something like I'll be happy to meet you once I'm in Japan. So be very professional, just like with anyone else, and try to contact the other professor, but don't copy paste the same uh, message to all of the professors, because it's gonna be they all know each other and they're not gonna
Mhm.
appreciate you being like this. So
I
yeah,
mean,
we wish you good luck.
what I want to add, some professors may um, recommend you another professor if they know like the right
Yeah,
professor. Like
Yeah, that's true.
that was my case, so that's how I found my professor. Yes.
and since you passed the screening, it shouldn't be a problem because like they've read your research and stuff. Just be proactive, show your interest in their field, and um, everything should be okay. So the next question that we have from Nisha. Embassy recommended MEXT. I have cleared the first screening conducted by the embassy and also got a letter of acceptance from one
Mm.
of the national universities. What are my chances of final selection now? I have applied for research master's degree. So, Austin, can you help with that one?
We okay. Let's put it this way. We never know the exact chances of things. And I'm going to have to be frank as well. Last time we had a financial crisis, an economic crisis, which was 2008, 2009, right? The
Mhm.
number of scholarships that were issued for the following few years did drop a bit. So we are living in times which are not very normal, and therefore I really can't say anything for next year. Um, so if the first screening is conducted whenever the embassy got a letter of acceptance from national universities, then where does this go to? It goes to Central MEXT to decide, and we do not know how much what they look at. We do not know what how many they actually like select from. So it's I can't really answer this like authoritatively, to be very honest. Yeah. Mm.
Okay. So, thank you, Austin. But yeah, um, it. But I think like still the if you got the acceptance letter, it should be okay. Usually, I don't know how this year, but recent years Travis, like our friend
Mm,
from Akita University, who is an expert in MEXT, like he told us that the chances are usually 99%. So
mm,
unless earthquake happens or Fujiyama blows away, I don't know.
yeah.
So should be good. Should be good. Next question that we have is from uh, Adarsha. So, hello, I have a question. When in the interview, is it conducted in your native language or English,
Mm.
Japanese? Usually
Yeah, you have
English.
a choice. You have a choice between. You have a choice to choose English or Japanese. Well, at least technical major students they had a choice, but
Mm.
usually like Bunkei they have no options, only Japanese. So it
Mhm.
depends which major you have. Not your native,
So,
not your native language. No.
like in Brazil, actually, they in the embassy they do the interview in the three languages, like Portuguese, English, and Japanese.
Mm.
Really?
So yeah, I think it will depend on the country.
I think yeah, it depends on the country.
Okay,
Depends on the
I
country.
see. It's, mhm.
Okay, let's go to the next question, which comes from Dilnas. Hi, I have a little question. Was the scholarship entrance exam challenging for you? Thanks in advance. I think this is addressed to Vithor.
About the scholarship entrance exam, I think she's talking about the master's
Yeah.
entrance. So I think it was really challenging for me because I was changing the field of research. I am graduating mechanical engineering and I was entering design. And since it's a whole new field for me, like when I there was like two steps, the
Mm,
interview and also the written test. In the written test there were like they showed us a model of exam and I
mm,
studied based on that model. And one of the questions really made sense for me because in mechanical engineering we study something like about material, what are the best materials to choose for a product. But when I did the actual exam, it was like totally different. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have only 60 minutes to write about design and I have just to say what comes in my mind. And so it was really challenging for me.
I do want to add something about the undergraduate scholarships for like the entrance examinations here. So, to be honest, I think most people who've been through the undergraduate examination will say yes to what you to the question. The point is that, like, if I'm not wrong from what I've heard, right? So out of 100 points, the average mark for for Bunke applicants for the undergraduate scholarship for their math exam is probably like what 20, 30. And it's really that and of course, for many DK students, the Japanese test is going to kill everyone. So, the point is, yes, it's going to be challenging, but the problem is not about how challenging it is; it's how well you perform compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
And I think that
That's the
applies to
thing.
multiple,
Know
yeah,
your competition, guys. Know
yeah.
your competition. Be strategic. Next is a war.
Yeah,
Please
that's
don't kill
true.
someone. Please don't kill someone. Yeah, just please don't kill someone. Yeah.
Yeah, don't kill people, please. Exactly. And I think the last question was the one that was posted on our Facebook page from Ra- Rakshit Sapaliga. And I don't know how, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but let's call you Rakshit. So I would be grateful if you can guide me with this. The embassy website has not included economics or finance field of study for master's research. However, my target graduate colleges have mentioned financial aids, including MEXT Scholarship, on their websites. If I want to apply for economics, finance, or management-related research grant, where should I apply? So, Austin, can you help with this one?
This sounds like there are some particular like things with that particular country involved. So can't really see anything specifically, but it's so the embassy. I don't think that any embassy in the world will specifically rejects economics and finance like applicants. I think I haven't heard of that before. So I think you can just simply really just apply. That's just my opinion. But the second thing about what you're talking about is university recommended MEXT scholarships. the part about about the graduate colleges. So these are scholarships that you first have to apply and then get into the university. The university will apply for the MEXT scholarship on your behalf, and if you get it, you get it. So it's good if you get it, but very often, like you may not get it, even though you get acceptance from the university in these cases. So what you may just want to do is just apply, and if you get it, then welcome to Japan. If not, then maybe you can look at other choices that you have where you can secure funding.
Nice. Thank you so much. So I guess at this note, we're gonna end our live stream session, and thank you so much, guys, for participating. We were so excited about this. Like, sorry for posting the link at the beginning. That was not the valid one. Like, it's our first time, and we're so happy to see you all. And thank you for all the questions. So we're gonna hold at least like once in a month this kind of sessions. Let us know how it was, any recommendations. We're here to help you out with having your best time in Japan. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our Instagram for more, because we definitely are going to bring more and more stuff for you. So any ideas, any recommendations, as I told before, every live stream session, we're going to talk about MEXT and other like life in Japan related topics. But in our weekly Saturday episodes, you're gonna learn deeply more about the opportunities that you can have here in Japan, because I know that not all of you guys really come here for studies, right? So uh, in our channel we talk what you can do besides your studies to enjoy at like I don't know for at least 2 years of your life here. So follow us, share, subscribe, comment, and so if you guys have any last words of encouragement for newly selected MEXT Scholars or those who are trying to come, so please, I'll give the word to Austin first.
Okay, there are two. I think there is a few types of people who are watching this not right now. The first are people who are looking to apply to the MEXT scholarship. My advice is like if you don't succeed, apply again. Because the thing is that undergraduates you can apply like I think for 3 years. I know people who've applied for 3 years and only got it on the third time. And like for example, Hamida here like applied for the undergraduate scholarship, but didn't really succeed at the time. But she's here on the master's scholarship right now. So the thing is that there's multiple chances, so don't feel disheartened if you may not be successful this year. And for the people who are already who are pretty much going to come already, and you already know it, right? Welcome to Japan. Japan is, I think we're going to see more of these stories like in the future, but Japan is probably not what you think it's going to be in terms of your experience, but that's part of it. That's part of it. Like, living somewhere where you've never been before and you don't speak language fluently, it's going to be a challenge, but that's what people have to rise to, right? And just remember that, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Japan. If you're here on the MEXT Scholarship, MSA is also looking forward to seeing you in Japan. So please join us. Please like us as well. Yes, we have very, very good information, like discounts, discounts. This means money in Japanese, by the way. Yeah. Yeah.
Our Ajuma Austin activated.
안녕하세요, 여러분.
That was not planned, guys. Okay, thank you, Austin. So Katya?
Yeah, so I would like to add some to what Austin has said. So yeah, about coronavirus and this stuff, you guys. So Travis said this. You guys think about what you can control. You cannot control the coronavirus in the whole world. Please don't worry. Don't take too much on yourself of this. Yeah, I know this is hard, but worry what's under your control. Yes, and if you didn't pass the screening, there is also like MEXT university recommended scholarship, but I'm personally I'm not I don't know much about it, but I know many people come from the like university recommended, so you should like find another ways or just get more prepared for the second time. I personally passed for the second time, for the second attempt. Yes, so please don't give up and enjoy your life in Japan. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Katja. And Peter.
So I should also say the same as Katya and Austin. Like I passed in my second trial for the MEXT Scholarship, and it took me some time to create some guts to try again. Like I didn't do like in the next year after the other time. But I think it's really important if it's your dream to come to Japan to study here and to research here. Please try again and again because I I feel like for embassy they feel that if you try more and more, it feels like you are really into it and you are giving some effort. So probably it gets some positive points for you.
Or they're
That's
just
my
tired of seeing your
suggestion.
face all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, just go.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, again.
Being annoying is also a strategy. Don't
Yeah.
overestimate that, right, Austin?
Perseverance, perseverance. I think some of the other guests already talked about that kind of like the necessity of it, like in Japan,
Yeah,
sometimes.
Mhm.
exactly. Just
Mm.
like everywhere else. So
Yeah, I
thank you
understand.
guys. Thank you guys so much for participating in this live session. We're excited for more. It wouldn't happen without you. So let us know in
Mhm.
the comment section or like in our Instagram, like if there's something else you want to talk about, we will prepare the session for you. We'll invite more guests, like if they're in certain areas.
Hmm.
So thank you so much. Please share, leave the feedback, and we will see you when we will see you. Ocean 12. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.